Hello, everyone at The Voice Asian. My name is Shashi Warrior, and I'm here to tell you a little about my last book, Sara. Sara is my last published work, but it's also very special to me in some ways. First, it's a love story. It's something I never thought I'd write, a love story, but here we are. Second, it's about food, about a chef. And I never really thought I'd write a book based on food either. And third, it's about learning to live with loss, which we all do over the years and the decades. And that forms a substantial part of this book. And finally, the book wrote itself easily. I usually struggle to write. I have trouble writing all my books. But this one was an exception. This one was really special. It just came pouring out, and I didn't have to work at all. It's a story of Junaid, a young man whose grandfather used to be the chief cook for a small and fictional kingdom somewhere in the Awadh region. Hailing from a family of cooks, Junaid decides to move the business further and studies hotel management in a good school in Delhi. He then starts running a restaurant in Delhi. But he's aware that for all his formal education, his cooking rests on a spice mix that's a family secret that his father shared with him when Junaid grew up. An Englishman eats at his restaurant, finds his food spicy but not too spicy, and doesn't suffer Delhi belly afterwards. He likes the food so much that he comes back to Junaid with a business proposition. Let's start a restaurant in London, he says. I'll foot the bills, you do the work, and we'll share the profits. Junaid jumps at the opportunity, and thus is born a London restaurant called Junaid's of Fatehgarh. One of the early visitors is a young woman, Alice, who visits it because the name Fatehgarh is familiar to her. Her great grandfather was the last political resident of the kingdom before India became independent in 1947. Her great grandmother, still alive, has spoken often of a chef called Junaid who worked for the king of Fatehgarh and produced some marvelous meals, and happens to be this Junaid's grandfather. Junaid and Alice become more than friends, and in time, when Alice's great grandmother passes on, they get to read her diaries. And in those diaries, Junaid discovers an entry about his father's secret spice mix, describing in detail the ingredients that go into it and how they must be processed to achieve that perfect result. Junaid now begins to fear that the recipe for the spice mix, the foundation of his fortunes, the foundation of his family's fortunes, the foundation of his London restaurant, might have been stolen, or worse, a reward that his grandfather got for collaboration with the British during the Raj. He has little time to spend on the matter, what with having to run a growing business and so on. He makes an attempt, but that doesn't work out. And then Alice and Junaid have a daughter, Sarah, and he gives up trying to trace the source of the recipe. Some years on, Alice falls ill and dies. Sarah grows, and after some years of confusion, herself becomes a competent chef. Junaid then shares the spice mix recipe with her and tells her about his suspicions about how his grandfather happened to get hold of it. And, on Sarah's insistence, they go back to India to find out for sure. So the rest of the story is a sort of detective story. It's about an old chef and a young one, a father and a daughter, going in search of a dead person who devised an incredibly valuable recipe. I hope you like that description. I hope it provokes you at least to thinking about reading the book. My next book, which is now complete, will probably be out sometime next year. It's called My Name is Jasmine, and it's built around a woman Maoist entering middle age, seeking redemption after decades of participating in violence in the jungles of Odisha. I hope to come to you with more on that by and by. And so thank you very much, all viewers at The Voice Asian. It's been a pleasure engaging with you, and thanks to Voice Asian for giving me this chance to tell you about it.